Streaming audio check. Streaming audio check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stream audio check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stream audio check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Check, check, 1, 2. 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 Check, check, 1, 2.
Hello. Can I please request everybody to be seated so we can start the program? I'll request everybody to please sit down so we can start the program. Assalamu alaikum. We're going to start the program, so please be seated. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of Allah, the merciful, the most gracious, ever merciful. Assalamu alaikum. May the peace and blessings of God be upon you all. I welcome you today to the Iftar dinner on the Hill. Thank you very much for taking a time from your busy schedule to come and celebrate Ramadan with us. Before I begin, I'd like to recognize the Algonquin nation on whose traditional territory we are gathering. We acknowledge them as the past, present, and future caretakers of this land. As is the tradition for the Islamic event, we will begin the program with the recitation from the Holy Quran. I'd like to request Zishan Zakaria to come and recite few verses from the Holy Quran, and then present its English translation.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون أياما معدودات فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخرى وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين فمن تطوع خيرا فهو خير له وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصم ومن كان مريضا على سفر فعدة من أيام أخرى يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون. I will now present the translation of the verses just recited. O ye who believe, fasting is prescribed for you as it was prescribed for those before you, so that you may become righteous. The prescribed fasting is for a fixed number of days, but whoso among you is sick or is on a journey shall fast the same number of other days. And for those who are able to fast only with great difficulty is an expiation, the feeding of a poor man. And whoso performs a good work with willing obedience, it is better for him, and fasting is good for you if you only knew. The month of Ramadan is in which the Quran was sent down as a guidance for mankind with clear proofs of guidance and discrimination. Therefore, whosoever of you is present at home in this month, let him fast therewithin. But whoso is sick or is on a journey shall fast the same number of other days. Allah desires to give you facility, and He desires not hardship for you, and that you may complete the number, and that you may exalt Allah for having guided you, and that you may be grateful. Jazakallah.
Thank you, Zishan. The French translation of the verses just recited will be presented by Abdul Rahman Savadogo.
Ô vous qui croyez, le jeûne vous est prescrit tout comme il a été prescrit à vos dévanciers, afin que vous adoptiez la piété. Le jeûne prescrit est pour un nombre de jours déterminé. Mais quiconque d'entre vous est malade ou en voyage devra jeûner un nombre égal d'autres jours. Et pour ceux qui ne peuvent jeûner qu'avec difficulté, il y a une expiation: nourrir un pauvre. Et quiconque fera le bien de son propre gré, c'est mieux pour lui, et le jeûne vous est bénéfique, si seulement vous saviez. Le mois de Ramadan est celui pendant lequel le Coran a été révélé comme guide pour l'humanité, avec des preuves claires sur la direction et les critères. Par conséquent, quiconque d'entre vous est présent chez lui pendant ce mois doit y jeûner. Mais quiconque sera malade ou en voyage devra jeûner pendant le même nombre d'autres jours. Allah désire la facilité pour vous et il ne désire pas de la privation pour vous. Et il désire que vous complétiez le nombre de jours et que vous exaltiez la grandeur d'Allah pour vous avoir guidé et que vous lui soyez reconnaissants. Merci.
Thank you very much, Abdurrahman Sawadogo. Now, a little bit about who we are and what are our contributions in Canada. Who are the Ahmadiyya Muslims? We are Muslims who believe in the Messiah, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian, peace be upon him, who founded the community in 1889 as a revival movement within Islam. His goal was to emphasize the essential Islamic teachings of peace, love, justice, and sanity of life. Our slogan is love for all, hatred for none. Today, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community is the world's largest Islamic community under one divine appointed leader, His Holiness Mirza Masroor Ahmad. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community spans over 200 nations with membership exceeding tens of millions. In Canada, our community has over 75 chapters across Canada, across the nation, from Victoria, BC to St. John's, Newfoundland. We have several mosques built in various cities, and we are 100% funded by members of our community. We do not take any government funding. We are the community that is proud to serve our nation. We conduct many programs to assist Canadians and Canadian organizations. Some of the programs we run include the Jaswe Hijabi campaign organized by our women organization, regular food drives across Canada, 19+ charity runs in Canada, under which we have donated millions of dollars to Canadian health organizations. Food drives that allowed us to donate over £1 million of food to different food banks across Canada. And Explore Islam, an educational endeavor where 1,000 cities will be visited to help people understand the peaceful nature of Islam. At this point, we have already visited well over 500+ towns. We also believe it's very important to honor our veterans, and we raise thousands of dollars for the Royal Canadian Legion each year. Now about the Parliamentary Friends Association of Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at Canada. The PFA was started several years ago, and for a very long time, our chair was Honorable Judy Sugro, and now our current co-chairs are MP Sorbara, MP Matheson, MP Seaback, representing 3 of our political parties. Our goals at the PFA include educating MPs and senators about violations of religious freedoms across the world, with a focus on the state-sponsored persecution of Ahmadiyya Muslims by various nations. We also wish to raise awareness about the humanitarian work the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at does across Canada. We hope that the Canadian government and people will stand with us to advocate against the persecution of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at around the world. Now is the time to start inviting our wonderful guests to say a few words. I would like to welcome Francisco Sorbara, who is also the co-chair of our Parliamentary Friends Association. He was elected, represented the riding of Vaughan Woodbridge in 2015, and has served as the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of National Revenue. Let's welcome him for his remarks.
Assalamu alaikum. And good evening, everyone. Ramadan Mubarak. I was just saying before I came up to provide a few remarks that the Honorable Judy Sgro had been the chair of of the Ahmadiyya Friendship Group for many years, and it took 3 MPs to replace 1 MP. So thank you, Judy, for all your years of dedication and service to this friendship group. It's quite the honor for me to be here with everyone this evening. On behalf of all the members of the Ahmadiyya Parliamentary Friendship Group, thank you for all being here. There are a number of dignitaries here tonight, and we will acknowledge everyone as the evening goes on. For me, Ramadan is a sacred time to gather with family and friends. From sunrise to sunset, Muslims in Canada and around the world are fasting, praying, and practicing self-restraint. It is always an honor to join with friends and colleagues to share meals at Iftar. I will say on a personal level, the Baitul Islam Mosque in Vaughan has become a home away from home for me. Mr. Lal Khan Malik and everyone watching live back in the beautiful city of Vaughan, thank you for everything you do for our community and for the country, and literally for the world. As one of the chair of the Friendships Group, this is the second year in a row that I've had the opportunity to work with the Ahmadiyya community to specifically bring the Break of Fast Iftar dinner on the Hill. I want to take a moment to acknowledge all the volunteers from the local chapters that have worked diligently to make this possible. On a personal level, I do wish to say thank you to my teams in particular that I know has worked with Fahim and his team for many, many weeks on this. Ahmadiyyas and all Muslims call to service. Their generosity and compassion is cherished by all Canadians. We are blessed, and this room reflects that. You continue to strengthen our communities and the values that guide you. Values like generosity, putting the needs of others before your own, and leading a life of compassion and service are the same that we all as Canadians stand for. My friends, I look forward to breaking bread with you shortly. I wish everyone a wonderful evening and Ramadan Mubarak. Thank you.
Next, I would like to invite Lindsay Matheson. MP Matheson was elected to represent the riding of London Fanshawe in the 2019 Canadian federal elections. And then she was re-elected at 2021. Currently, she's one of the co-chairs of the PFA representing the NDP. Let's welcome her for her opening remarks.
Well, Assalamu alaikum. I wish you a very happy Ramadan Mubarak. I, too, am so incredibly honored to be a part of this organization. I think it's really quite incredible to see all of the photos of all the representatives, the diplomats, those people involved here at the Parliamentary Association, and our work to better understand those within our communities, but to represent what is required from those communities, from us, and how we share. I had the incredible opportunity, as I know many of you have, to take part in some iftars already. And on Friday, I was in my community, and the kids are running around, and they're apart, and they're laughing with all that joy, and they're seeing each other, and that is something incredible to see now, especially after I know we still feel the remnants of what the pandemic has done in keeping us apart, but it's that coming together. And although throughout the day, Muslims don't eat to ensure that they are feeding their soul, it's nice for us to all be able to come together at that breaking of the fast to share that meal and to share that time together and to truly come together as that community. I have often been told, and I am, again, so grateful that I am a member of the family in London. I have a very large and growing community in London of Ahmadiyya Muslims, and they truly feel like family. And so in that, I hope that we can continue to work together to do some of the incredible work of the Parliamentary Friendship Group to ensure that those voices in that incredible story within the Canadian context are heard. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Lindsay. Now I would like to invite Honorable Minister Ahmed Hussain of Housing and Diversity and Inclusion. The Honorable Ahmed Hussain was first elected in 2015 to represent the riding of York South-Weston. He has previously served as Minister of Families, Children and Social Development and Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship. Minister Hussain.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ramadan Kareem, Ramadan Mubarak. It is a pleasure and an honor for me to be here. I want to thank the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at, for organizing this break of fast and bringing all of us together. We have members of parliament from all parties, different orders of government represented here, police officers who keep the community safe. I want to thank all of you for being here. And I want to also recognize Amira El-Gawabi, Canada's first ever special representative to combat Islamophobia. Thank you for being here. I just want to really be brief, but I can't leave this podium without paying tribute to the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at, for their incredible track record of public service, giving back to humanity, both within Canada and abroad. I've had the pleasure of visiting different mosques of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community across Canada, and I've seen firsthand the work that goes into giving back to the community, really strengthening Canada from coast to coast to coast, but even exporting that amazing work outside of our borders. I have seen projects to food drives. I've seen work done to improve education, access to water, access to healthcare for so many millions of people around the world. And I think the Ahmadiyya Muslim community really represents the best of our community. And you embody the work that needs to be done to not only contribute to social cohesion, but to actually better social and health outcomes for all of us. And I am really proud to be here today, and thank you so much for everything that you do and everything that you continue to do for all Canadians. I want to say that your slogan of love for all and hatred for none is practiced every day by members of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community from coast to coast to coast. And I know that that is a very strong response and a very clear answer to those who seek to oppress you for your beliefs and for your community's existence. So continue to count me as a friend, and thank you for everything that you do for Canada. Merci beaucoup. Shukran.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hussain. Now, our next guest, it's my pleasure to introduce Pierre Poilievre, leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. Mr. Poilievre has represented the riding of Carleton for 7 terms, serving since 2004. And I remember, like, I was used to live in that riding at that time when he was elected first time from that riding. He has served as Minister of State, Minister for Democratic Reform, and Minister of Employment and Social Development under the Harper government. Please join me in welcoming him to the stage.
Ramadan Mubarak, and thank you very much for the kind introduction, and thank you to the co-chairs for hosting it. On behalf of all conservatives, I'm proud to wish all Muslims celebrating Ramadan a blessed season. I want you to know that you have friends in the Conservative Party. We have the Conservative Caucus Chair, Scott Reid is here, Kyle Seaback, our International Trade Shadow Minister. We have Layla Goodridge, who's responsible for fighting drug addiction, and Corey Tucker, who is a great friend of the Ahmadiyyan community and has worked hard to introduce me to the proud Ahmadiyyan community in Saskatoon. And from them I learned the values of love for all and hatred for none. What a hopeful message in these difficult times. Over the last few days, I've had occasion to join with Muslims who, despite being in the middle of their own fasting, are filling boxes with food to provide for the less fortunate. And boy, do we ever need that now. I think we can all agree that it's hard to imagine a worse time in Canada's history. 1 in 5 people skipping meals because the price of food. 9 in 10 young people can't afford a home in Canada. More and more people are going to food banks, and some are losing hope and falling into the hands of drug addiction and even suicide. Now is our time, especially at Ramadan, to transform that hurt into hope, to give people back control of their lives. No one sets the example of that greater than the Ahmadiyyan community, which stands for faith, family, and freedom. And I want you to know that conservatives stand with you. Your freedom to choose for your family, to choose how you spend your own money, and of course to stand with Ahmadiyyan Muslims who are persecuted in Pakistan. We as conservatives will always champion religious freedom, including for minorities like Ahmadiyyans. And I see here the great Garnet Jenis and MP Redekop and Zaid Abu Tayem is here as well, all champions of religious freedom around the world. And we are going to reinstate the Office of Religious Freedom so that we in Canada have eyes on every place in the world where religious minorities are suffering. So we stand with you in these times, these difficult times, to bring hope to all here in Canada and around the world. And so thank you very much for including us in this wonderful occasion. Ramadan Kareem, Ramadan Mubarak. Thank you.
Okay, before we get to our main presentation, let's have a couple of presentation remarks by the people who are actually serving us in a different capacity than all these wonderful politicians. So I'd like to invite next the Superintendent Kim Taplin, the Director of National Crisis, Crime Prevention, and Indigenous Policing Services. She has been working in this role since 2018. Please welcome her to the stage, Kim Taplin. She's from RCMP.
Good evening. Al-Salamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak. Thank you for inviting me to join you in this Iftar tonight. Grateful to be here on the unceded, unsurrendered Algonquin territory, and it is an honor to be here on behalf of the RCMP to celebrate the blessed month of Ramadan with you all. I imagine that for those who are fasting, this might seem like the longest day of the year, so I promise to be brief. I want to first thank the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at and the Ahmadiyya Parliamentary Friendship Group for the warm invitation. As I was preparing for this wonderful occasion, I was reminded that that this is a time of reflection and of gratitude, empathy, and doing good. I can certainly express my gratitude for the Muslim community in Canada, with whom the RCMP has a very close relationship from coast to coast to coast, and for the many RCMP police officers and employees who are of the Muslim faith. I am also grateful for the opportunity to learn more about Ramadan and to break bread with all of you. There is always joy in sharing good food with great company. I am humbled by the discipline and faith you demonstrate during the month of by enduring the physical pains of hunger and thirst. Reflecting on this struggle, I'm reminded to think of those who may not have enough for a full meal every day and who routinely experience hunger. I understand that Ramadan is not only about abstaining from eating and drinking, but also about personal struggle to overcome one's imperfect nature and act in an enlightened manner. To me, acting from a place of enlightenment means acting from a place of humility, from a desire to be of service to others, to put others before oneself, to do good. This is exactly what we strive for as an organization and as individuals at the RCMP. As a police officer, I can attest to both the struggle and the beauty of doing both. Contemplating these values, I'm reminded to practice them mindfully and deliberately every day. Being here with you, recognizing the sacredness of Ramadan, honoring these values collectively, we affirm that whatever our faith, profession, or background may be, we all have a role to play in building a more compassionate and just society. When we do so in partnership, extending our hands to overcome barriers and build change together, our impact is even greater. On behalf of the RCMP, I'd like to wish all of you and the many others celebrating this blessed month in Canada and abroad, Ramadan Kareem, Wasiyama Makbulan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kim. I just noticed we have a very young guest with us. How are you? Hello. Okay, our next guest, I would like to invite Jagmeet Singh, the leader of the NDP, to say a few words. He has represented the riding of Burnaby South since 2019 and has been serving as the leader of the New Democratic Party since 2017. He is a lawyer and human rights activist who has also served as an Ontario Member of Parliament. Let's welcome him for his remarks.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. It's a great honor to be here. It's the first iftar for Anhad Kaur, so her first iftar ever. She's quite excited to be here. And my first iftar of the season, or of this time. And I have to say that my history with the Ahmadiyya community goes way back. When I was the member of provincial parliament, the Jalsa was held in my riding right by the airport. And as an MPP, I had a perfect attendance at the Jalsa. I don't think I missed a single one. And one of my friends in university who actually encouraged me to learn Punjabi, Shoaib Khan, was Ahmadi. And he first introduced me to the Ahmadi community. I went to the community center, played basketball with some of Shoaib's friends, and first learned about the Ahmadiyya community and learned about the connection, the strong connection with the Sikh faith. So it was very heartwarming to learn of the connection. It was also great to learn that there's a lot of Punjabi speakers that are Ahmadi. So मेरे बहुत मान है कि जब मैं Ahmadi Jamaat आना तो मैं पंजाबी भी गलबात कर सकता so दिल बड़ा खुश होना. So I feel really honored that I can also connect with my Punjabi brothers and sisters every time I go to a Ahmadi event. I also want to say that while we are here to break fast and acknowledge the importance of Ramadan, I want to wish you all Ramadan Kareem. I also know that the Ahmadi community continues to face serious persecution, and I just want you to know that New Democrats also stand in solidarity with the Ahmadi community to resist that persecution, to raise concerns whenever it happens. I know it's particularly troubling in Pakistan, and I just want you to know you can count on this, the NDP as a party, our whole team, to stand in solidarity with you. I also want to say a word, as the minister mentioned, the love for all, hatred for none, a powerful slogan that is something that you live with the community work that the Ahmadi community does, with giving back and developing schools and access to clean water and hospitals around the world. The Ahmadiyya Jamaat really lives and embodies this spirit in the work you do. I'm honored to call upon the Ahmadiyya community as a friend to the community, and I wish you to consider me an ally that will stand with you shoulder to shoulder. A great honor to be here, and I just want to acknowledge Lindsay, who spoke earlier, and some of my other team members will be showing up later on. Again, a great honor to be here. Thank you for all the work you do. Anhad, I think, wants to say something. She keeps on pulling the mic, but do you want to say something? Maybe not. Maybe next year. Again, thank you so much. An honor to be here. Ramadan Kareem. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, Jagmeet. Now it's time for our first presentation on the topic, Learn Social Media Tips and Strategies on the topic of Ramadan. I would like to invite Sarfan Chaudhry, the lead of our media team, to talk about this interesting topic.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all. Thank you so much for being here. It is a very special honor to speak about Ramadan for me, for any Muslim who would ever be given this privilege. But I wanted to take this opportunity to share for our non-Muslim friends some tips this time of the year that may come in handy. But some truly Canadian moments that we want to share that have been especially unique for members of our community. And they are uniquely Canadian because they have helped us share our identity, share Ramadan in a way where up on the screen you'll see that Ramadan, of course, has a very important spiritual significance for Muslims, but it also has a social significance. It's the 9th month in the Muslim calendar, and with it starts the 30 most significant days of the year that Muslims, in fact, look forward to. My colleagues often look at me and say, oh, is it Ramadan? And they're like dreading it for me, and I remind them, no, we look forward to these 30 days. And also because it's the time where we are able to do more charity. The Canadian Food Bank takes in its record intake in these 30 days. Our volunteerism is at an all-time high. We avoid unnecessary conversations, unnecessary meetings, but also it's 30 days where we are refraining from unnecessary activities, anything that is considered a waste of one's time. We visit the sick, we go to hospitals, we check up on people. But also on the spiritual side, it is the month where we're reciting the Quran as much as possible. We're remembering Allah. And we increase our visits to the mosque. We're praying a lot more. And we are opting as much as possible in our worship. So, I want to share a uniquely Canadian story. It's a social media story. It's a story of spirituality. Fast with a Muslim friend. Just going to move my mic up a little bit. I'm being signaled, so I hope everybody can hear me better now. Yes? Okay, perfect. Received a few thumbs up. So, what is Fast with a Muslim? It's a campaign that we launched in Canada, and it took a life of its own using hashtag Fast with Muslims. And what was unique about this campaign is that this campaign went global, and I want to share a few moments.
Next, we're joining 1.6 billion Muslims worldwide and some inquisitive Canadians. Ramadan, the fifth pillar of the Islamic faith, has stood for over a millennium. So, for Muslims and non-Muslims alike, the web may not be the first place to visit whilst observing the 9-month of the Islamic calendar. However, an interesting trend has emerged in the past couple of years of Muslims sharing their stories of fasting from dawn to sunset for an entire month. The hashtag Ramadan problems rose to prominence last year, and it saw those observing the fast share tales of the often amusing issues that arise while neither eating nor drinking for 17 hours a day. Elsewhere, other Muslims have also embraced the internet to share Ramadan with as many people as possible. This year, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at community in Canada started a nationwide campaign asking people to fast with a Muslim. Non-Muslims who sign up for the scheme will learn how to fast with their Muslim neighbours for at least one day during Ramadan.
I don't think I can. I think it's impossible for my well-being. I can't.
I really don't think I can. But you know what? If I tried, I probably could. I probably could do it. You said how long? 17 hours?
Yeah. 17 hours, no food, no water.
No water?
Yeah.
No, I can't.
Aside from teaching self-control and discipline, the Ahmadiyya is hoping to foster community spirit by hosting larger, fast-breaking Iftar dinners.
So what was the outcome? You know, this was just one such example of telling these incredible stories. Over 500 Canadians signed up, coast to coast. They went on a website and they signed up. They wanted to learn. It's very uniquely Canadian. Over 2,000 Canadians joined through social media to talk about Ramadan and their experience. Hundreds of non-Muslims visited mosques across the country during different prayer times to break the Iftar. Hundreds of Canadians participated in Iftar dinners. Over $7 million. Just to give you some numbers, you know, we talked about charity. This is just last year in 2022. Over $7 million were raised during the month of Ramadan right here in Canada. And 250,000 hours are donated during this month so that we can give back. So it's not just about the food that you're refrained from, but then giving through that sacrifice. So, in conclusion, I want to share a few tips. I hope these come in handy. You know, it's okay, you can eat in front of your Muslim friends. You know, oftentimes my friends are worried, you know, oh my God, I forgot that you're fasting. It's okay, we're used to it. It's no big deal, you can eat in front of us. The other one I want to share is, you can schedule a lunch meeting with us. It'll just be awkward for you. You know, we'll still show up, it's no problem, just you're going to be eating by yourself. Intermittent fasting is not the same as Ramadan fasting. You know, it's the most common one we hear. Oh, you're fasting? Yeah, I do intermittent fasting. Not the same thing. And lastly, Ramadan is not the same date every year. So you can't really mark it in your calendar. It's a little bit different from Christmas in that way, and Hanukkah. It's constantly changing, and the seasons are changing over the years as well. So you can't really quite mark it in your calendar. It's a bit of a moving target. So, that said, Ramadan Mubarak. Thank you for being with us today and this evening, and I will hand it back to our host, Fahim Afan.
Thank you very much, Safwan. Now we'll move to invite some more guest speakers for some remarks. I would like to invite His Excellency Sanjay Kumar Verma, who is the High Commissioner for India in Canada. Before, he has served as a Consul General of India in Milan and Italy, as well as the Indian Ambassador to the Republic of the Sudan and Japan. His Excellency, I'd like to invite you to say a few words.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I extend my heartfelt thanks to Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at in Canada for having invited me here. I bring with me good wishes of 1.4 billion Indians, out of whom 207 million are those who are fasting like us. We also are proud of hosting the place where the origins of Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat rests, which is Qadian in Punjab. We are very proud to see all of us here together, despite of coming from different faiths and religions, in order to celebrate peace, sharing, and of course, spread the good word about the humanity. Thank you very much once again, and to all of us for Eid al-Fitr, which is awaited in about a month from today. I wish good month of Ramzan, as we call it in India, not Ramadan, good month of Ramadan, and also having a wonderful Eid al-Fitr waiting for us in about a month's time. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, His Excellency. Now I would like to invite Chris Harkins, the Deputy Commissioner of Field Operations, who has been serving in this role since 2019 with Ontario Provincial Police. Now it's time for him to say his words.
Good evening, everybody. On behalf of the Ontario Provincial Police, I want to thank you for the opportunity to join Ramadan, the annual Ramadan Iftar dinner at the National's Capital Region here. It's an honor and a pleasure to be among everyone in attendance, including friends of the Muslim community, Muslim brothers and sisters, distinguished guests, parliamentary members, leaders, Mayor of Council, and our OPP and Ottawa colleagues as we celebrate the blessed month of Ramadan. It's a special time for Muslims to come together with family, friends, loved ones, neighbors, communities to spend time with one another and share blessings. We admire the strength of our Muslim brothers and sisters and children in performing a month-long fast while being around people of other faiths who are not fasting. We give thanks to the blessings that all of us enjoy. Ramadan is a reminder that Islam has always been part of our Greek country, province, and communities that we serve. Partnerships with our communities are a critical component to our work in policing, and partnerships are critical as we move forward in this complex society. We look forward to many more years of friendship, celebration, and collaboration. Love for all, hatred for none. Merci, miigwech. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. I totally forgot to mention that we have two guests here who have signed up for fasting, and they're fasting today, actually. Dean Proctor and Joanna Melger from SSI Canada. Thank you very much for fasting with us today. Our next speaker is Elizabeth May, the leader of the Green Party of Canada since 2022. She is a Canadian politician, environmentalist, author, activist, and lawyer, and has previously served as the leader of the Green Party from 2006 to 2019. Please join me in welcoming her to the stage.
Assalamu alaikum. It's a huge honor to be with you for this Iftar dinner, again joining all of us together and on this holy month of Ramadan. I come to you as someone who recognizes that we have common threads in our histories as the tribes of Abraham, that we have similar traditions. I'm now, as a Christian, going through 40 days of Lent, where we get to eat all day. It's hardly fair. But we do give up certain things to be mindful of faith. I want to acknowledge that as one of the things that this community, this Ahmadiyya Muslim community, brings to us, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at, to share with a very secular Canadian society the importance of putting our minds on other things. And this holy period, and I thank you so much for reminding us, this is not intermittent fasting. This isn't some diet trick. This is a sacred period of reflection, of renewal, and of putting our mind on other things and the good works your communities do. Spectacular good works that overflow our food banks, that help with our charities, and that give back to communities. I can add nothing except to say to my parliamentary colleagues, to Lindsay, to Kyle, and to Francesco, thank you so much for heading up the Parliamentary Friendship Group, for all the work that's done in organizing this dinner. And I also want to acknowledge with me tonight is Jonathan Pedno, who is my essentially co-leader. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done this thing again. I'm not crazy. But maybe I have displayed a little craziness by saying out loud in faith, thanks be to Allah, thanks to God, thanks Jehovah, thank you, Creator, thank you to all those things that give our lives meaning and to whom and for which we must always be grateful and reverent to the sacred in this world. Thank you. Miigwech shukran.
Thank you very much, MP Elizabeth May. Now I'd like to say thanks to a few of our other guests who are here to enjoy the Iftar dinner tonight. I would like to recognize the Honorable Mark Holland, also Greg Fergus, the Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister of Canada, Mary-France Lalonde, Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Immigration and Refugees and Citizenship, Peter Fonseca, Chair of the Standing Committee, and Judy Sugro, the Honorable Judy Sugro, who was the chair for our PFA for a long time. And then we have Gardner Jennings, who was also the co-chair for a very long time for our PFA, Corey Tucker, Scott Reed, and everybody else. Sorry if I missed your name. Before we I invite our next speaker, I'll ask Kyle Seebeck to come and say thanks to all the guests. Kyle Seebeck is the co-chair of our Parliamentary Friends Association of Canada.
Assalamu alaikum. I think that faith is a force of good, and nothing shows how faith can be more how faith can be a force of good than the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. In my own riding of Dufferin-Caledon, a mere few weeks ago, the Ahmadiyya Youth Group brought almost 1,000 pounds of food to the Orangeville Food Bank at a time when the food bank was desperately looking for donations. And that is just a small example of the amazing work that the Ahmadiyya Muslim community does, not just here in Ottawa, not just in Orangeville, but all across the country. And I am grateful for the good work that you do. I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. If it's your first Iftar dinner, that's fantastic. Perhaps you could find an Iftar dinner in your community to attend. I know I'm going to do that as well. There is so much that we can learn from the Muslim community during Ramadan. My spouse is Muslim and has told me many stories growing up about how important Ramadan was to her and is, and of course the beautiful celebration of Eid, which I know you're all looking forward to. Thank you so much for everyone coming here tonight. Thank you so much for the community for having us all here, teaching us a little bit more about your faith. Ramadan Mubarak.
Thank you very much, Kyle Seebeck. I would also like to acknowledge that Minister responsible for the Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario, Philomena Tesai, and Chandra Arya was here too, who is also a very good friend of our community, and some other MPs. Sorry if I don't recognize everybody's name, but we'll definitely call everybody. Faisal Al-Khoury, he's here. And Corey Tucker and Ruby Sahota. Thank you very much for coming, Ruby. So for the next presentation, I would like to invite Asif Khan to come and present the keynote speak. Asif Khan is our National Director of Public Relations and Media Relations of Canada.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of Allah, the Gracious, Ever Merciful. Before I begin, I just wanted to thank Fahim. Fahim's our wonderful person here in Ottawa that does all of the work for us. We get to just show up and be a part of the program as well. So Fahim, thank you. And thank you to everyone for being a part of our program this evening. It actually means quite a bit to us. We know that you've taken your precious time to be with us and perhaps having a meal later in the day, later than you usually would. So Ramadan blessings to all of you, and thank you once again. If any of the people have been forgotten in terms of being acknowledged, that's Fahim's fault, not mine, right? But I did want to say a couple of special shout-outs. One, of course, is to the Honorable Judy Segro, who has been not just our past co-chair, but she's been a friend of the community for a very long time, over 24 years, I would imagine, right? And she knows our issues intimately and has always been there with regards to all of the help that we have needed. I wanted to make a special acknowledgement to our Indian High Commissioner. India holds a very special place in our hearts. It's where our community was founded. So we consider you our brother and our sister, so thank you for being with us today. And then my last shout out is my new best friend, MP Ziad Abul Taif. Just a couple of weeks ago, we got to travel together to London, England, where he attended His Holiness's address at the International Peace Conference, and we got to spend a lot of time together, so I thank you for that time. And he also had a private meeting with His Holiness as well. So I'll start my speech. I was speaking to a colleague this past Thursday, the first day of Ramadan, and during my conversation, I mentioned to him that I'm fasting. He said to me, "Wow, I don't think I've ever fasted. I don't think I've actually ever missed a meal." And I chuckled at him, knowing that for me, it's really not a big deal. So what motivates a Muslim to want to fast, and not just for one day, but for an entire month straight with no water or coffee? You've probably heard the textbook definition that fasting is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, and that it allows oneself to be further devoted to their faith, and that it teaches us about the suffering of the less fortunate, and that it will strengthen our relationship with God. And to a Muslim, that would suffice. But you still might be asking, why would you want to fast for 30 days? The actual reasons why we get enthusiastic about this month are it is a time for self-improvement, for family, being charitable, and spiritual growth. So let's get into that a little bit further. First, Ramadan is a time for self-reflection and self-improvement. It's a month where we strive to be better versions of ourselves. The act of fasting is not just about abstaining from food and drink, but also about controlling one's desires and impulses. Ramadan is a time for growth. It's a challenge to fast for 30 days, and it's not easy. In fact, it can be downright hard at times. But by pushing ourselves to overcome this challenge, we develop self-discipline, patience, and gratitude. It's a reminder that we are capable of achieving great things if we put our mind to it. It's like running a marathon. It's painful, but once you cross that finish line, you feel a sense of accomplishment that's hard to describe. And it's a reminder that we are more than our physical bodies and that we have the ability to overcome our basic instincts and become more spiritually aware. Second, Ramadan is a time for community. It's a month where we come together as a family and as a larger Muslim community. We break our fast together, we attend morning and evening prayers together, and we share in each other's joys and sorrows. It's a beautiful thing to see people from all walks of life gathering together to share a meal and strengthen their bonds of brotherhood and sisterhood. We all have busy lives, but we should all have time to eat. So each evening, Muslims look forward to going to the mosque to pray, meet fellow brothers and sisters, and then breaking bread with one another, with family and friends each and every evening. We look forward to companionship and family every evening of Ramadan. Third, Ramadan is a time for giving. Muslims are encouraged to give generously during this month. It's a reminder that we have a responsibility to help those less fortunate than ourselves, and that our wealth and resources are not solely for our own benefit. It is a natural human emotion to feel good about giving. By fasting, one feels the pangs of hunger voluntarily, while at the same time realizing that there are others around the world who feel hunger pangs not voluntarily. This provides an urgency and a desire to help those who are less fortunate. And finally, Ramadan is a time for spiritual growth. This is my favorite aspect of Ramadan. It is an actual reset button for our souls and towards our relationship with God. It's a time to connect with God on a deeper level, to read the Quran with more attentiveness, and to pray with more sincerity. It's a time to seek forgiveness for our sins and to make amends for those that we may have wronged. As some of you may know, a Muslim is asked to pray 5 times a day. God has asked us to remember Him and seek His help and guidance throughout and consistently throughout the day. But sometimes a Muslim does not get around to praying 5 times a day. God then has asked us to attend every Friday prayer and not to miss any of them. But sometimes that doesn't happen. Then there's this gift from God that He gives us an entire month once a year to reset. Ramadan is like a spiritual cleaning, but instead of decluttering your closet, you're decluttering your soul. So to put it all together, Ramadan is not just about fasting, it's so much more. It's about self-reflection, community, charity, and spiritual growth. It's a month that reminds us of our humanity, our connection to God, and our duty to our fellow human beings. Now that we understand why Muslims enjoy fasting so much and make a big deal out of Ramadan, I would like to share another aspect of Ramadan. Just before the fast breaks each evening, Muslims come to a mosque or a prayer center and listen to an imam, which I'm not, and listen to a imam provide some lessons or study on the Quran or Islam. So in that spirit, I would like to share some interesting facts about Islam that you may not have known. Fact number 1, the real purpose of life for a Muslim is to find God. This is the real reward that Islam promises a believer. Hence, all of our acts of worship are a means to an end and not the end in themselves. Those that strive on this path may see their reward in this very life, not just in the hereafter. In other words, Islam shows us a personal God, a God who loves His creation and with whom one can have a very personal relationship. Fact number 2, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is a descendant of the Prophet Abraham through his son Ishmael. This makes Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, a literal cousin and all Muslims spiritual cousins to Jesus, Moses, and all other Semitic prophets prophets mentioned in the Bible, peace be upon them all. Fact number 3, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the only religious leader whose life is known in great detail. He was born an orphan and could not read or write. In his private life, he was a husband, father, neighbor, friend, and a businessman. As a public figure, he was a prophet, leader, legislator, judge, statesman, and a general. As the messenger of God, he is a lawgiver and a reformer. He passed through every imaginable stage of human experience and left behind an example of perfect conduct to be emulated. Such a combination is not found throughout history. The next fact, Muslims are required to honor and respect the commandments in the previously revealed holy books, such as the scriptures of Abraham, the Torah of Moses, the Psalms of David, and the Gospels of Jesus Christ. Muslims are required to honor and respect and believe in earlier prophets, such as Noah, Abraham, Moses, Aaron, Solomon, David, and Jesus of the Judeo-Christian faiths, as well as the prophets of other religions, such as those from Hinduism, Buddhism, and Zoroastrianism. According to Islam, over 124,000 prophets have appeared in history to guide mankind. The next fact, Jesus, peace be upon him, is regarded as a blessed prophet and a Messiah by Muslims. In fact, there is a chapter in the Holy Quran named after Mary, the mother of Jesus. Mary is regarded with very high praise and is given a very high station among all the women in history. Next, Islam explicitly teaches that there is no compulsion in religion. One is free to practice or reject any religion. Forcing someone to convert to Islam or killing a person who changes faith from Islam to something else is contrary to Islamic teachings. Also, apostasy or leaving Islam is not punishable. Islam promotes total religious freedom for all people and total accountability for one's actions. Fact number 7, Islam does not specify a particular form of government. Rather, it imposes the condition that no matter what the form, the responsibility of government should always be discharged with equity, justice, and compassion, always fulfilling and upholding basic human rights. Islam does not allow any discrimination on the basis of color, creed, wealth, or social status. Fact number 8, the classic rivalry between science and religion is not an issue with Islam. Scientific inquiry is promoted by the Holy Quran, which encourages reflection and thinking. The Holy Quran incorporates religious truths, history, commandments, and the description of natural phenomena, the development of the human embryo, such as the Big Bang Theory, the development of the human embryo, and the creation of all life forms from water, just to name a few. There is no contradiction of any current scientific truth with any statement of the Holy Quran. Fact number 9, I believe. Am I at 9? Right? Okay. Sorry, I don't have these numbered. I printed my speech this morning and I forgot it at home, so I'm reading it off my phone. Islam teaches belief in angels who are obedient servants of God. It was the angel Gabriel, the angel of revelation, that revealed Allah's direct words, the Holy Quran, to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Muslims believe in many other angels, such as the archangels Michael, Raphael, and Israel. And fact number 10, Islam is a religion that is compatible with modern times. A Muslim is someone who is concerned about good morals and behavior. There is nothing that stops a Muslim from being a part of contemporary society, according to the Holy Quran. Muslims drive cars, use smartphones and the internet, vote in elections, have jobs and careers, invest in business, teach, travel the world, raise families, play golf, go sailing, pursue higher levels of education, and are wonderful neighbors wherever they are found. Again, I thank you for spending your valuable time with us this evening. May Ramadan be generous to all of you. Ramadan Kareem.
We're almost getting close to the Adhan time, which is the call of prayers. I would quickly like to invite Imam Farhan Iqbal to lead us in the silent prayers and say a few words before the Adhan. And after Adhan, I'll request everybody to please be seated for the further instructions.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. It's always interesting to be the last guy before food. So Well, the procedure with fasting is that we have a call for prayer, the azan. It's the same call for prayer that Muslims have 5 times a day. And there's actually a very interesting story behind it. I don't have time to tell it, but basically Prophet Muhammad took advice from his companions, and they were thinking of different things. Somebody said we should raise a flag. Somebody said we should do it like the Jews do. They have a horn. Somebody said we should do it like the Christians. They have a bell. But then one companion actually saw a dream where he was revealed these words that you will hear in a few moments that became part of the tradition. So it's believed to have come to us from God. And the words are basically as follows. Allah is the greatest is said 4 times. I bear witness that there is none worthy of worship except Allah. That is said twice. I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Peace and blessings of God be upon him. That is said twice. Come to prayer. Come to success. Allah is the greatest is said again. And it ends with there is none worthy of worship except Allah. I would also like to quickly thank the organizers for today's event, both the presidents of the branches of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in Ottawa, Mr. Awais Mahmood and Mr. Kudus Chaudhry, and also both presidents of the branches of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth Associations here in Ottawa, Mr. Sarmad Ahmed and Mr. Sinwan Bisharat. There have been some volunteers who have been here for the last many hours setting this up, so we would like to thank all of them. We normally end our programs with a silent prayer. You're welcome to join however you prefer for a moment of silence. Please join me in silent prayer. Amen. Thank you.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah. Hayya ala salah. Hayya ala al-falah. Hayya ala al-falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
Before Fahim tells you who can eat first, I need to give you guys another lesson. I was drinking water up here, and it's the holy fasting month. When I speak, my mouth gets dry, but there is a provision in Islam that when you're traveling, I'm from Toronto, I drove over here today, that you're not allowed to fast. So I have to make up my fast another day. So I apologize for anybody who thought that maybe I was drinking water and fasting at the same time. So.
Thank you very much. I would like to recognize some more guests because Asaf has put me on a hot seat. If I don't recognize everybody, I'll be in trouble. So I will also like to recognize MP Lisa Hafner, MP Jasraj Hallen, Red Krupa, John McKay, and Joan Baker. And thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. I think I didn't miss anybody now. Okay, I missed one. Sorry, I don't know your name. Sorry, your name is? Yeah. Right, thank you. So that's, and if I missed anybody else, sorry about that. Before we have a kosher meal available for our Jewish friends. If anybody is a Jewish friend, then please go to at the back, and they will serve you the kosher meal. We have the prayer arrangements at the back, so whoever wants to go to do the prayer, offer the prayers first, they can go at the back. The rest can go to the eat the food. But before we go and eat the food, I would like to invite our national presidents, Ottawa East and Ottawa West, Kadus Chaudhary and Abbas Mahmood Sahab, please come. I'll also like to invite our youth presidents, Sinwan Bisharat and Sarmad Ahmed Sahab, and Asa Sahab is here. And now I would like to invite all the MPs, please come to the stage so we can have a group picture with the organization team.
These wonderful packages that are at your table are dates. It's a tradition to open your fast with the dates. You obviously, I can see many have started eating them. If you don't want to have it, please take it with you. They're delicious. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, food is being served on my far right, if you guys away from the projectors. There's also a kosher meal available for members who would like to eat from there. We are also having prayer available just in the back room here, through the back wall, just through the center. You can see me standing next to it. If anybody would like to offer their Maghrib and Isha prayer, can come through these doors, and there is facilities.